Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hearts of Wulin, Autumn Willow. It's the second part and final part of our tale of war and romance and martial arts and silver. Uh, we are here with three wonderful players that are joining us today. Uh, and we're gonna see how this battle goes. This is a Gauntlet game as part of GauntletCon 2019. The Gauntlet inclusivity policy is in place. We have an open table, so at any moment you need something, you need to pause. We will just pause the game, no problem. We're also going to be using lines and veils. We have a tab on the character keeper where we have our lines and veils. Treat it as a living document, so if there's something that you want to add there, just go ahead. Lines are things that you don't want to see as part of the game. Veils is anything that while you want to have acknowledged as part of the game, you don't want to linger or play through them. So things that just happen in the background or off screen or it fades to black. Uh, we also are using the X card. So if you use your X card, you just call it attention on the shot, verbal, visually. If you see that you're not getting reaction, just try to ask verbally, just in case nobody's looking at the screen, for example. Uh, and you point out, say what you don't want to have as part of the game, and we just remove that element and continue from that. We also have script change, which we have tools on the tools for more editorial control on the roll for your party, in which you can fast forward the scene, rewind something that you were not comfortable with the way it played, and just pause a scene and discuss with people. So basically, if the X card is that you just don't want to go there, if you feel that you need to curate a scene more carefully, we have script change for that. And before we start, uh, let's go through our three heroes of the land and as their players introduce themselves and their characters and tell one thing that they did the previous day of the battle. Let's start with Ming.
Yeah, so the previous day, Ming was hoping to impress Mealy, but Mealy had other plans to go see somebody else, and so Ming was kind of left behind in the midst of enemy troops and proceeded to do the job that he had planned out originally for the strategy, and that was to kill a bunch of enemy troops. And so the last we saw Ming was standing in the battlefield surrounded by disabled enemy troops in a way, I guess you could say.
And how about Bao?
Yeah, Bao last time sort of turned traitor on the Whispering Crane and has gone off to be with his brother. And his brother promised him that he could fight Zhen, and that happened. But before they could come to a finality to it all, the two forces crashed into each other around them, and they were both taken away.
And lastly, we have said brother, Wei. So, how did the Wei fares?
Well, biggest thing that happened last time was they managed to convince their brother to turn coat on their faction. And then proceeded to fail everything from that point onwards. Losing access to his fighting ability in the middle of the battle.
We get to the night after the second day of the battle, as important strategic positions have been seized. People have changed sides. And we see Ming surrounded by the people of the Azure Monastery. So, which place did the Azure Monastery decide to make their temporary fortifications now that they have gained a foothold on the region?
Oh, was that directed at me? At Ming?
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, since like this is like the breadbasket, right? Like this the whole thing's fighting over land with food. I would imagine it's like perhaps like maybe like a windmill or something, like a place where they would process grain, like a granary of some sorts. Something that's not only of strategic importance for a battle, but strategic importance for food supply as well.
So, how did Ming's Gambit, which was basically the whole strategy for the forces of the Whispering Crane hegemon, how much of that Gambit paid off? And how much it was hurt by Baw's apparent defection?
I think it paid off quite a bit, but at the same time, I think we don't really know how much it paid off because all of Whispering Ox's forces weren't out there. And yeah, I mean, it was definitely affected by Bao not doing his job, but I mean, I think it still worked pretty well, considering.
And lastly, before we ask the others, after settling on the mill and reorganizing the troops, it came the time to send a courier with a message to the Whispering Crane. What are the contents of that message? And more precisely, what does it say about Bao and Mei Li?
I think it says the main contents of the message is to keep pressing forward with the previous strategy, and about Bao and Mei Li saying nothing of Bao traveling with his own brother, or the whole thing with Jin. I think it just says that Bao was out of position, and possibly his troops can be placed under a different commander if the Whispering Crane wished it.
Mm-hmm. And we cut to Bao. So, Bao, your troops took quite a beating because they were caught first by the troops of the Oli what was exactly?
The Holy Society.
Yeah, of the Holy Society. Yeah, so you got caught first between the troops of the Holy Society. Then you were caught when the Azure Monastery, led by Ming, also caught a few of your troops that linger behind. You took quite a beating. So where do you seek refuge and take your men to safety?
I'm not sure any of my troops have actually come with me.
So you think you only came with melee?
Yeah, because I think the Iron Prosperity delegates, they as a faction are very much attached to the Whispering Crane. But I myself am without my company, I believe. Probably trying to bend my brother's ear at wherever we have camped.
So, are you coming back to tendering ox, or you are making no moves in declaring for either side?
Well, I'm hoping to convince my brother that if we can find this silver ship, we can be more powerful than the Whispering Crane and the Thundering Ox combined. We will need neither of them. We can buy our way.
So, what is the place where it's known enough from the legends that you can convince Way without much effort? That will be an excellent place to camp for the night and where you can start your investigations the next day.
That would be the Horsehead Lake. It is the only lake that is vaguely, from seen from the proper angle, it looks kind of like the horse's head. You're supposed to camp in the mouth of it.
And what was the last thing that after the duel Jen said to you before retreating in the middle of the night?
Was that to me?
Still to bow.
What was Zhen's clan?
Holy Society.
The Holy Society. I think Zhen may have let something slip that there was a division forming between the Holy Society and the Eagle Doctrine School. That there might be something there to drive a knife between the two of them. Divide the forces, as it were. That shadowed saber.
Oh,
yes, the shadowed saber was uncertain of these tactics. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's true. It is true. So, wait, you I don't know, for in so many years, you are camping again with your brother, but you're not alone. In fact, you are worse than alone. The person that you love the most and that has been supporting you has been recalled by their master. So you don't have their support. And Melee is an ever-present shadow and seems to be a thorn in your relationship with your brother. So how is that the Melee always seem to be blocking whenever you want to try to have a sincere conversation with your brother? How does she always gets in the way?
I think that she comes and goes as we make camp. But every time I look around and I can't see her, and I turn to bow to have a quiet conversation alone, suddenly she's there. And I try not to make it so obvious that I don't want to talk while she's there, but I don't really say anything of value while she's around. And as the night goes on, I start to get a bit more frustrated because every single time I want to talk to him, she just appears standing behind him.
Did you send any of your men back to the Thundering Ox to inform them about what happened during the day?
I think so. I think it's just me, Bao, and Melee at the moment in this camp, and all of the men went back to the main fortifications. And I would have sent them with word that the mission was successful.
No more details.
No.
Good. There's no way that that can be misinterpreted in any way. So, lastly, you three are alone, but you meet different soldiers of the Thundering Ox that carry grim news to your men before they depart. It seems someone else has been victim of an assassination attempt during the day. And most important, the person that tried this murder was extremely skilled in the hidden path martial arts. Who was the victim? Well, will be victim of the assassination attempt.
I think it's the, what did we call her? The harmonious serpent. I think that that Hua may have heard that the Eagle Doctrine School had thrown its metal behind the Thundering Ox and disagreed, and was going to take out the new leader of the school to try and shift them away from this course of action.
And while it seems that the attack was not successful, nobody has always seen an harmonious serpent ever since. And your men are quite nervous and they don't know what awaits them once they return to the Ox. And let's start by using the okay, well, I forgot last session. Let's not forget today. Each of you highlights an entanglement. So it's basically an entanglement which will focus on making it happen this session, and you get extra XP if that indeed happens. So you just pick one of those to be highlighted. I forgot to say that yesterday, but turned out we did not need because we hit all of the entanglements, so I just gave as one of them was highlighted. The first thing that we're gonna do is Ming. Let's see how the battlefield favors you the next day. So let's use the custom move when time passes. So Autumn Willow, which is on the cards file and also on the bottom of the basic moves on the character keeper. So when time passes, roll 2d6s with advantage or disadvantage as the tides of war demand. So I'm gonna say that the plan was pretty successful, and honestly, you lost bow considering what you gained. So I'm gonna say you get advantage on this roll. So,
all right. Do I roll with a stat or is it just roll an advantage?
It just roll with advantage.
Okay. Let's add one more here. And then we'll roll all these. That's a 5.
Okay, so the thing with the meal is that it's not particularly abundant in defenses, and you find that this time the Thundering Ox is committing a lot of forces. And you see that they are surrounding the mill. They are trying to push the mill, and you don't have any particular defenses that you can endure a prolonged fighting there. So you're going to be fighting at severe disadvantage, maybe up to 3-1 or you have to abandon the meal and go elsewhere. What does Ming command?
Ming's not the type that would withdraw from the mill. Ming would stay there even if he was the last of the Azure Monastery standing there.
And there is a large number of troops, and your men are nervous, and you see that a lot of them are starting to think that maybe they can desert, they can make a run to the Southlands. It should be safe before they actually surround them. So how are you rallying the troops against these what probably is a doomed stance? Well, at least for many of them.
Now say, what is the purpose of running when you're surrounded? Where are you going to run? Into the arms of the enemy? I think I've seen that too often already this battle. My friends running into the arms of the enemy. No. No. They will not embrace you. But I'll show you how I embrace them. And then I just look out to wherever the enemies are the closest. And I just start marching in their direction. Whether the troops follow or not, I'm just walking in that direction.
Okay, so I'm gonna say you impress troops.
All right.
And with element?
This is definitely I don't know, maybe presence. I'll go earth. I'll say it's presence. All right. Too many tabs. Let me get rid of this one. That is a 5. Yeah, 2. Yeah, plus 1, 5.
Unfortunately, it seems you are alone. But you engage the enemy troops. The soldiers, at least they are not running away, but they are just hidden in the mill, watching as you single-handed face down the incoming army. So, how do you deal with troops?
Just like I've always done before. Quietly, calmly, as is my way with the water. Showing that I am aware of my own situation. Even being outnumbered 3-1, 5-1, 10-1, 100-1, we will always overcome. Let's see. Let's roll again. Maybe I'll actually roll higher than a 3 this time. There we go. 7. That's plus 1. That's an 8. Actually, no. Yeah, that's an 8. My fighting is water, not metal.
Oh, good. So you defeat them. And as the troops start to thin, you see someone among the flanking riders, then in the middle of the infantry, that they seem to be moving through the shadows. And when you are done clearing a small regiment of spearmen, you block with your staff an incoming black saber. And you turn around to see Shadwood Saber smiling. I know now why my disciple respects you so much.
Well, it seems I am at a disadvantage. With whom do I have the pleasure of standing across from?
A member of the Society of the Future, the only one that will linger once all those claimants and corrupt people are gone. I am Shadowed Saber, and I am the leader of the Holy Society.
Well, then that makes you my enemy.
you
I
are
guess I have
mine.
to study.
Yeah, you definitely should study.
Yeah, so I slowly circle and and focus in on this strange figure that says the leader of the Holy Society, but I always thought Jen was for some reason the leader of the Holy Society. So let's roll that. It's a 10. And that was I can't use Earth. My Earth's taken. So I'm just gonna use awareness, so that'd be 11.
Okay, so you have 2 questions.
Of course I want to know this person's scale. Like, how deadly is this person?
Oh, they are above you.
Okay. How can I get out of this situation? Like, what is my escape route out of here?
And by out of this situation, what do you mean?
I mean, away from Shadowed Saber. Possibly back to either Whispering Crane or Bow.
You get the feeling that Shadowed Saber fears what you might become, and that after the well, which you probably only realize it now, after the attempt on the life of Harmonious Serpent, they have become more reckless, and they believe that you are somehow behind this. So, if you can prove to them that you are not acting against him directly, and that he has bigger problems to deal with, and maybe I can help you find who has been targeting your compatriot advisor. Maybe that way you can decide that, yeah, I still hate you, but I have bigger fish to fry.
So yeah, I'm like, look, Saber, I don't know what is going on in your camp. I don't know what dissent is going on behind your lines. But I do not know what dishonor is being tilted towards you. But perhaps you should be finding the one that was leading your troops yesterday to put you in this predicament. Jen, where are they at today? How come they are not on the battlefield?
Would you say it is a use of your master move, or would you say it's hearts and mind? Either way,
I'm gonna try to use the master move because I kind of want to just like stop, dude.
Okay. So pick an element, and you get +1 because of the study.
All right. I'm gonna say this is patience. I'm gonna go with wood. So I'm gonna say I'm being patient, which is a +0. Might get +1 anyways. Seven, 8. So on an 8, we do have a moment to negotiate. Must offer the aggressor something they want, or they will press their assault.
So you are aware of the stratagem that Harmonious Serpent and Way conspired. Is that so?
No. I haven't spoken to Way since we were students.
Well, they have filling the Thunderous Ox mind with ideas about stratagems and ways to win the people of Southlands, a way to play the game that the Whispering Crane plays, to subvert her weapons and her silver tongue against her. I don't like those tactics, and I think that they do not do well for us. So I believe that this is something against our interests. If you want to prove that you're not involved with this conspiracy, all you need to do is to remove Wei from the equation. I'm going to give you time to get a fine head to present as a trophy.
The Thunder Sox knows no end to the treachery behind his lines, where one ally asked me to murder another.
I do not believe Wei to be an ally of our causes.
It shall be seen.
Well, I'm going to shoot you safe passage among our lines. But the next time I meet you, I'm going to do what I promised my lord and get rid of the Azure threat.
Well, I'll do as you say. But no, in the end, it won't matter. Because the Whispering Crane will win this war. And then like that, I'm like, poof, and I'm just like gone.
Yeah, and as the camera follows Shadowed Saber disappearing in the middle of the retreating army, we can hear him say, "The Holy Society will be the only thing that survives this war." And we get to our two siblings. So, how is your morning doing?
I think we wake up on the edge of this lake. I think Bao is an early riser, and is seated on the shoreline with his bare feet in the water, sipping tea when Wei comes across him.
Sorry?
No, I was going to ask, and what is Wei doing?
I think Wei comes across Bao and looks around for Melee. Can't see her right now. Ah, brother. Good morning.
Good morning.
It is wonderful to be with you again. It's been too long.
Yes.
What I have to ask, what gives you the impression that we'll actually find this silver ship? People have been searching these lakes for years, for decades, and nobody's ever found anything. There's no chance that it's actually real.
It is our destiny, brother. This is what we were meant to do. I think Bao's just going to start walking into the lake. Join me. Hold my hand.
Wei will step forward and take Bao's hand. Are we just going to walk into the river, into the lake?
I think for a little bit. And Bao will reach underneath the water and dig up some mud. And he slaps it into your hand. You don't believe I'm actually looking for a ship of silver, do you?
Are you looking to just get out of here?
And he points into the mud in his hands, puts his finger in it. This is the silver. This land is the silver. The food that grows here is the silver. We must take it for ourselves.
I see.
Yes, we must seize the means of production. The ox does not see it this way. He sees this as a just another ring on his warhammer. The crane does not see it this way. She sees it as a road that leads to the ox and nothing more. But you and I, do you not see it, brother?
I can see what you mean. They both seem so foolish with their bickering between each other. But I don't know. I've never attempted to leave my school behind. I don't know how I'd fare without the guidance of my elders.
Your elders are fools. They have tied themselves to a drunken ox. They're like a cart careening down a road. You must be the one who holds the reins.
I think at this stage I need to roll for any conflict.
Before that, do you think the proud youth triggers?
Sorry, the what?
Way has a move, the proud youth.
Oh, yeah. When you see the guidance of an elder. Well, you have to tell me a problem you face if you want to do that one.
Well, they just told you about abandon the school.
Oh, true.
So what is your honest answer for them to do?
This is Wusha. You have to kill your master, man.
It is what you. So
Okay.
you get study hold, so you can use study hold on your brother now, or you can save it for later.
Yep.
And because that might be useful on you deciding if you're going to listen to their advice, or if you decide, no, that's not the way, I will find my own way.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, would this be in a conflict, or would Bao roll for hearts and minds?
I will say it's inner conflict.
Okay. Well, I will take the hold and I'll roll for a conflict.
Okay, so mark XP and pick an element.
Pick an element will be
any non-style.
Yeah.
I also wonder if I'm hitting inner conflict here too. Because I did promise Way that I would help the ox, and I'm kind of flipping on that.
I'm going to say fire that this is... Oh, that won't matter. So that's 5. It would seem that
that the situation escalates. So basically, you were told to kill your master. How do you think this escalates? Also get extra XP.
You can always challenge me to a duel.
I can't. I've marked my my style element.
Oh
yeah. Well, yeah.
I was going to say, I think I turn and walk out of the lake, and of course Melee will be standing at the shore looking at us.
Mm-hmm.
I brush past her.
Do you leave the camp?
Yeah, I walk out of the camp.
Do you remind your brother of their promise?
I'm not even thinking about that right now.
Oh,
I'm
just
in
complete.
such turmoil right now that all I've ever wanted to do was do the right thing, and right now I can't tell what the right thing is.
Hmm. So you still did not decide if that is the right thing or not.
No.
Okay. So your brother is just leaving you. And you made a promise for them. So roll inner conflict.
All right, so I mark XP for
Yeah.
rolling inner conflict.
Yes.
And I think this is Earth. This is caution. If I fly too much off the handle here, I'm supposed to be angry and overconfident. I'm a little overconfident. All right, here we go. Oh, that went poorly. Yeah, it's a 4.
So more XP. So yeah. So are you try? So what is the conflict? No, to which side of the conflict are you swinging then?
Oh, I did promise my brother.
So what do you do in a desperate attempt to gain the support and love of your brother back?
Oh man. I walk up to Melee. And from my many folded garments, I remove a letter. I walk it over to our smoldering embers of the campfire and throw it in there and say, "You are released. Your services are no longer required." And I'm going to release her, and so as to prove to my brother that I am with the Thundering Ox 100% of the way. Because Melee is probably still from the Iron Prosperity delegates, and she is still loyal to the Whispering Crane. And then I level up because I hit 8 XP. So
Yay! And guess what? Guess who just appeared on the horizon riding a horse? Ming. Let's take 5 minutes break. So yeah, and we come back.
It's really hard to pick a new move.
I don't like the one that you find out someone's connections. The problem is that I never get to use it. I will speak that one, but I like got to use it twice, and I failed both times. So,
I figure our loyal has passed from the character sheet, so I'm going to take a loyal move.
and Leon's good moves.
Oh, I really need to clear this this condition. It's very difficult to do anything when you can't fight.
Yeah,
You can, I forget how you clear conditions.
hearts and
Hearts and Mind.
actually hearts of minds. I think you can. Let me say, there is one move only for that. So comfort and support. There is another one which you can clear elements.
I think it's impress.
Yes, yes. So you can impress someone. Okay. So you do that to Mei-Ling, and Mei-Ling is in utter shock, and her legs are shaking, and she steps on her spear, weirdly it gets it on her hands, and she charges at you. Yeah, and because this is Wuxia, she does not say anything about why she's doing that or how she's feeling. And Ming, you just arrived, and as it seems to be the case with Ming, there are two things that demand Ming's attention. One, you see Wei, as far as you know, unaware of your presence, leaving alone the camp, vulnerable, exposed. On the other hand, you saw Bao throwing something into the fire, and then you just see Ming shaken and then swinging her spear at Bao. So, Ming, what you do?
Well, as much as I want to get involved with Bao and Melee, I think he probably deserves it for whatever he said or did. So I'm going to sneak up on Wei to see if I catch Wei off guard.
So, I'll say that this is overcome for Ming to get there and catch Wei unaware.
All right. Let's see. Guessing this is yeah, I'm gonna say this is definitely control. So I want Wei. Let's see. It's 9 instead of 11.
Whew. Yeah, so tell us what you do to get to catch them unaware, and what you do with that.
So Wei, are you like sitting in the trees like quietly contemplating? Are you like milling around? Are you huffing and puffing?
Yeah, I'd just be kind of wandering aimlessly, contemplating.
Okay, so like as you're walking in between the trees, like all of a sudden you stop all of a sudden because you feel a staff pop out toward your neck. And I say, "Oh, friend, I figure you would have your guard up a little bit better at times like these."
Times like these. Times like... There are no times like these.
There's always times like these. I figured Hua would have taught you better. Just like he taught me.
Yeah, he taught you to leave us.
The only
He
reason I
always
left,
taught you better.
he taught you the same. The only reason I left is because I thought it was a good enough student to carry on the mantra. However, we've been presented with an opportunity I can use your help on.
And how is that?
To deliver a decisive blow against the ox. For I fear you've been misled by your teacher. And I believe you can help me by helping me kill them.
So I've just managed to convince my brother to help the ox, and you want me now to turn around and kill him?
Not your brother. Your teacher.
No, the ox. Oh, my teacher. You want to take out the harmonious serpent?
Yes.
I don't know if that's even possible.
It's possible if we work together and train. It can be done. Would you have told Hua it wasn't possible?
Nothing is impossible for Hua. Can I spend that study hold and ask, would we be able to overthrow everyone? The three of us?
I mean, you know that each of them is clearly an excellent fighter. And the thing is, if you face it, all of you against all of them, shh, you had no chance in hell. But if you actually, if you manage to turn them against each other and only have to fight one or two of them, and if you present an united front, you think it's possible. But you still would need to secure some kind of advantage.
Fair enough. Um, you were always a better student than I ever was. What kind of training could we do to take on such a threat?
Well, it'll take discipline. It'll take training on controlling all of the elements within us. It'll take knowing when not to go too far, when to not let emotion get involved, when to stay calm. And I like the whole time I'm saying this, you can hear like shing, shing, shing in the background as Bow's like fighting along with Mealy. And I'm like talking about you just gotta stay calm, disciplined. But yes, if we take down the serpent, that also takes Shadow Saber out of the picture.
Well, they don't see eye to eye about anything. My concern would be that if you take down the serpent, Shadow Saber will gain total control of the Thundering Ox's plans, and the two of them together will just destroy everything in their path.
That would have to be another chapter of a different story.
So I guess you are actually trying to comfort and support Wei. So I think that would be right.
Could be. I'm trying to get a confidence back.
Yeah.
Let's
I'd allow
let's do that. All right. Let's see. Roll with any element. Okay. Let's see. I'm definitely giving you some wisdom here. So +1. Oh no, that's a 4. And I don't have a bond with you to burn.
I mean, even with the 4, that's really hard to get into the high required numbers. So, yeah, basically, you don't manage to gain that support, and as that is happening, you hear an elderly chuckle, and you turn back and you see Ua just appearing behind both of you. It seems I had to leave for you to finally learn the lesson that I could not teach you. I am so proud of both of you. And we got to Bow. Bow, how are you doing?
I imagine I am doing my best to block Melee's spear thrusts, but trying not to injure her, trying to talk her down off of this this warpath that she's suddenly on.
So, are you studying or are you hearts and mind?
Hmm. You know, I want to study because I want to figure out her sudden turn of things here.
Okay, so what is your approach as you are? She keeps trying
Oh,
to pierce you.
I think this is awareness and flexibility. This is my water stat. It's actually something I'm really good at as I'm dodging these blows and trying to understand. And that's a 12. So hmm. Why does Melee suddenly desire me dead?
We see a flashback to when a teenager Melee was given the death by her uncle to protect the young master, and the the uncle saying, "Melee, the young master has a big heart, but a bottomless ambition sometimes gets in the way of his propriety and honor. We serve their family, and you must do everything to protect young master. There might be the day in which you need to protect the young master from his own foolishness, and above everything, that he does not drag the name of the family into the mud. You must be ready to do what is required." And getting back today, it seems clear that she's decided that the only way to preserve the honor of Bao and Wei and your family, now that you are set on this destructive path of fighting against the hegemons, is if you are going to die as a hero here by this lakeside and nobody knows about your desertion or about your plotting. So she wants to make sure that you die the man that she loved to serve.
All right. Hmm. And then I'm going to reveal a detail. And I grasp the spear. I've been almost toying with it as she's trying to stab me with it and swinging at my midsection. I grab it, I thrust it into the ground, and pull her closer using it. And I let her know that this uncle of hers who told her this, who she's always wondered how he died, it was the Thundering Ox who killed him. And it is my plan to end the Thundering Ox's reign.
Okay, that's one hell of a hearts and minds. Somebody's clearly reaching. So let's see if she buys it.
Let's see if she buys that. All right. Oh, shoot. I did the thing I'm not supposed to do. I guess this is, I don't know. Honestly, it probably is fire, so I'm going to take my 6. This is passion. This is thinking creatively.
Are you burning a bond to make that 6 or 7?
Do I have a bond with melee?
I should have, don't you?
I have a bond with the Iron Prosperity delegates.
Yeah, so you can spend that one.
Okay, I will burn that. And maybe that's part of the wider truth too. The Iron Prosperity delegates at the time chose not to deal with the Thundering Ox and let him rise to power. I'm trying to bring her around to this third group that's forming among the group of us against both the hegemonies.
Yeah. So she hears that and she says, I'll help you kill the Thundering Ox. But after that, you will come with me to the Southlands.
But I don't want to.
What to say to that?
Oh, shoot. Yes. All right. I will return with her to the Southlands.
All right. So she's going to support you. We get back to Ming and Wei, and who had just revealed themselves to you and commended you on your ambitions. But from the corner of your eye, Ming, you see. Well, first you hear that the clang of spears stopped, and then you look from the corner of your eye and you see that Bao is embracing me, Melee.
You see the red flow up in Ming's face. Melee. So I quickly lean down and pick up a flower and run over and say, Melee, my lady, so glad to see you made it safe out of battle.
Also, it's not even an inner conflict. It's just melee.
It's just for melee because I see you. I'm glad to see you made it out of battle, but unfortunately, with a traitor. Any response, Bao?
Before you call me a traitor, I believe you need to speak to my brother more.
I just spoke to your brother. How do you switch like that at the beginning of battle? Even though it even worked out for us. Thank you for chasing Jen away. But I doubt you planned on that. I
have many plans afoot. Again,
Well.
you should speak to my brother. I fear you will not. I fear you will not hear my words, but you may hear them through him.
Wait, are you still back there with Hua?
I am, but I was going to say, should I wander back into the camp with Hua behind me?
So you don't acknowledge what? Or
Oh, yeah, I would. So I was going to say, I'll wait until this little scene is done, and then I'll have a scene with Hua.
okay.
So I'll say, okay, bow. Differences aside, I think we can agree. Thundering Ox needs to be put down. The only question is how. Now, I've spoken with your brother, and we think the best strategy for that is to take down the serpent. Sorry, I don't remember the whole name, Richard.
Nor do I. It's all good. Harmonious serpent.
Winged serpent, but we just call her harmonious serpent.
Harmonious serpent.
Yes, that would be a good beginning.
Mm-hmm. And I have an agreement that Shadowed Saber would be pleased with that turn of events and cease aggression against the Whispering Crane.
And then the Whispering Crane would take these lands.
I should hope so.
Ah, but you see that? That is where we differ.
Oh, yeah, you're saying that in front of Melee after what you just said.
I can live in the Southlands and own these lands too.
What do you have against the Crane, Bao?
I have nothing against the Crane.
Have you not prospered under her rule?
I prosper everywhere I go.
Yes, but all those fine gold robes that you seem to procure every time I see you wouldn't be possible under the Ox. Don't you want peace?
I certainly want peace. I just forge my own way.
Tell me, how do you see yourself forging your way out of this one?
I think we can begin with the Harmonious Serpent. I think all of our forces are aligned in that direction.
So it is a plan.
It's the beginning of a plan.
I turn to Mealy. Mealy, do you still wish to serve?
More than anything.
So you are still loyal to Bao, despite
my best attempts.
Yeah,
Bao,
despite his transgressions of loyalty.
Bao has released me from my service, but I am still bound by my honor. There is a last request of his family that I must pay respect, and I must drag him to the Southlands in one way or another.
Well, I could definitely use a retainer of such skill, Mealy. Perhaps I can
Let us not get too ahead of ourselves.
offer
maybe.
you my employ.
Please, you're just in the presence of my late master. That is not proper.
You're late, master.
Nice implication there.
Fine. Wei, I imagine I see Wei over there.
Yeah, so what is the conversation that Wei and Hua are having? What is the thing that Wei never got the chance to ask Hua before they left?
I think Wei bows very low and said, "Honorable master, you find me at my most turbulent time. My loyalties have never shifted from the place that you set them in so long ago. Except now the talk with my brother has brought up ambitions that I never knew that I had.
You see, that is the point. I could never teach you the last lesson of water, the lesson of motion, the lesson that erodes mountains, that carves a new path, because that is a lesson that no teacher has any right to instill. But my teachings became too hard, too encrusted. I had to leave before I could mislead promising prodigies like you and Ming. And now both of you found your own way into this road. And I am proud to have been your teacher. And I will be proud to be at your side once again.
Will you help us then? Will you help us depose the serpent and bring the thundering ox to a halt?
These days, I can hardly help myself, much less others. But I will. I will. There are still secrets that I have not taught you. But help you achieve what? Tell me, young Wei. What do you see in the next morning? What will you make of the future?
Bao wants to take everything for himself. I feel bad thinking of family this way, but I can't help but see that all he cares for is the power, the gold, and the silver. And he sees nothing more than me as a token for him to play with to get it.
And will that be so bad for you to become a scion of a new imperial family? Many people will be joyous at this blessing from heavens. Why are you so disquiet at this notion?
I've always lived my life trying to please the people who have proved themselves better than me. I've never thought of myself as capable of living up to their level. Perhaps that needs to change.
Your brother will see themselves as the next hegemon, just another warlord that claims more than they have any right to claim. But tell me, Wei, have you solved the riddle of hegemony? What is the difference between an hegemon and any other hero of the land?
Well, I believe a true hegemon would have advisors and have people below him that he can trust, rather than trying to put them off against one another.
I agree with you at certain point. A true hegemon will not have need to spread that across the land to secure their position. Anything else would be more amenable. And many would say that that is probably why Whispering Crane is a better hegemon. But I walked her lands, and I see that what she does not enforce by the sword, she spreads that in other ways. I don't think there's such thing as a true hegemon. I don't know why someone that has advice and wisdom to offer has to waste it on a single pair of ears. I've planted seeds all across the land. Imagine if I had never had taken you or Ming or Harmonious Serpent as worthy of my advice. You blossom into something more precious and useful and life affirming than all of the kings, hegemons, warlords, and generals that I advised in my long life. I don't regret any of my students, but I regret every single lord that I served.
I think I understand that only in true chaos can we find true order.
Indeed, this era of war and strife is uneasy. But it's not uneasy because life is uneasy. It is uneasy because warlords and ambitious people like your brother make it so. It's not the nature of humanity to pursue their lives into ambition and power and the suffering of others. That's the principles of the Azure Monastery. That was the principle of the Eagle Doctrine School. That was the principle of the Iron Prosperity Delegates. The way of the hegemon is the way of the holy society. But we have this pyramid inverted, and those heterodox people, these nihilists that believe that humanity is dominated by its urges, they are the ones shaping society. No, I believe in my students, and I believe that every single human being, all the encountered generations that will come, they are all my students. You speak of chaos. I speak of a different order, a natural order, free from the vagaries of birth. Uh, an order in which everyone across the land treats each other like an hero. And even the word hegemon has lost its all meaning.
I would like to live in such a world,
You
and I
may
will
not.
do.
You will probably not. You'll probably die before that world comes to fruition, but you can pass the torch. You can pass the teachings. You can spread a little bit of kindness. So, what is the biggest kindness that you can do for this land and for your fellow men today?
Sounds good.
I guess we cut to the others back as Hua and Wei meet them.
Master Hua,
I see that you found another companion to bicker. You always like to measure yourself against a rival, Ming.
I never, would purposely seek out rivals, Master Hua.
No, but just is the way that you grow. It is amenable, and I cannot argue with the results. But like everything else in life, moderation is the key. But I think you know that, don't you, Ming?
I do. However, I think my old friend Bao could have used some of that teaching a little bit earlier in life.
Now, do you consider me such a poor farmer that I all plant seeds on barren soil?
Of course not, Master. I believe all the seeds that you've planted held well, except for with one harmonious serpent.
Do not speak so ill of harmonious serpent. If only for an accident of circumstances, you might have ended up in the same position.
I would have never served the ox. Never.
Well, wait, you served the ox? Do you think that makes you a bad person? That you are worthy of contempt from me?
No, but I believe in the teachings of the Azure Monastery and the Whispering Crane.
I don't believe there's much that I could do to prevent contempt from Ming.
It is not contempt way. Because contempt is something that persists. If we change this, I won't hold contempt for any of us here.
Interesting. So, if harmonious serpent was to change, would you still hold that against them?
That would have to be remain to be seen.
I see. Well, I have given harmonious serpent a chance. And honestly, if I had got the opportunity, I would have finished her off and I would have killed her. Because she stands in the way of dealing with the thunderous ox. Now that I told you this, Ming, what if I was going to tell you that the only way that I cannot do the same to the Whispering Crane is because you stand on the way?
And I'll continue to stand in the way. Why?
So I guess I will have to kill you too.
But that is another chapter of another story.
I don't have much to leave. I don't see why we should delay this any longer than necessary, don't we? Why don't
Because
you-
we need you for Harmonious Serpent.
Oh, what makes you think that I can beat her? She escaped my grasp once. She may yet again.
Oh, you won't be alone. You'll have the rest of us.
Perhaps. Perhaps I will be interested in another fight. After all, why don't I let you deal with your ortholog on the other side?
Because it's your fault. You were the teacher.
Indeed, and it's up to my responsibility to cut the two weeds in my garden.
Yes.
I see you've been spending a lot of time with Whispering Crane. And Melly laughs. She says, I'm sorry. Are you putting your hopes in way? They just stood there aimlessly as Jan and Bao fought it off. All they can do is just do poorly schemes, and honestly even that scheme did not work great because supposedly they were going to join Thundering Ox, and here we are plotting to kill him. Like, his only achievement was to linger in the shadows, and even that is being undermined.
And I'm going to interject myself there. And I'm aiming for a comfort and support for my brother here. And I say, Melee, it is only, I only live now because my brother did not join that fight. I know no fiercer fighter. For too long did I say that the victory belonged to me over Zhen at the battle of the 10,000 arrows. But truly it was my brother. Truly it was my brother who did who fought along my side and did save me, but my pride up to this point has prevented me from saying so. So I'm going to flip that old entanglement on its head and aim to clear my brother's conditions so he can fight now.
I would say that first of all, you're going to have to roll inner conflict because you are going so ahead against melee. That is
Yep.
way too much against melee.
Yep. All right. So, well, can't do wood. Presence, earth. Here we go. That's an 8.
So you need to mark an element to do this comfort.
Yeah, no, I'm good with marking an element. I'm going to mark fire again, which makes me reckless once again.
Yeah,
Which is
so
fine.
yeah,
can't go wrong.
now roll for the comfort and support.
All right, here we go. And that I'm going to do with well, that would normally be with passion. I'm going to do that with earth again. Oh, I probably mess up something and get you insulted. I'm so sorry, brother. That was a 5.
You're saying this, and it seems, for a moment, it seems that like Wei almost believes that his brother is back, but who interrupts? Someone is coming. I'll meet you back at the last place that I saw Harmonious Serpent. Find your own way there, or not. And Hua disappears. And you can hear the horses coming, heavy horses. Horses that you know are renowned by how ruthless they are and how excellent at waylaying and hitting around they are. You can see at the distance the standards of the Falcon Company, and you see that they are charging your location and they are trying to pin you against the lake and cut you down shortly. What do you do?
I step out in front of them to stop them.
You approach them and they recognize you and halt. Master Ming, I was not expecting to see you there. The report said that you are at the old mill.
Yes, but duties and obligations pulled me away. May I ask why you come charging toward this lake like this?
We have orders to capture Bao and bring them back.
Why capture Bao? Is not Bao one of our commanding generals?
Yes, but we called the Ardent Prosperity delegates to report on him, and none of his officers answered on him or Mei Li.
I assure you we will answer the call.
Well, there is no time like now. And you can hear a crackling of power, and you can see the whispering crane, fan covered, as she seems to just teleported into the place. And she seems to be rushing past you and moving towards Bao. So Bao, as you see the beautiful form of the whispering crane, as on her wise and experienced hegemonic form, she prepares to pounce on you. What do you do?
I know the Whispering Crane to be way above my scale. Can
I interject here?
Please.
Yes.
I'd like to dive in front of my brother.
Okay, I'm gonna say above all that is a comfort, so you can roll that to help Bao because you're gonna need it. So you can comfort or support.
Okay, I will do that with passion, with fire. So 6 or 7.
Okay, so I'm gonna say your word is that are the action. So do accept waste protection.
I will. And then I get to
So
choose whether I make a bond with them or clear element.
yeah,
I am going to clear. I'm going to clear fire. I just checked it, but I'm going to clear it. And yeah, as Whispering Crane is charging me, I'm just gonna I like take off that battle harness full of daggers and I drop it to the ground. I go, I am not here to fight you.
and she dances with her hands as I've just like water flowing around way, and she stands in front of you and said, "You know that my way is not to fight a battle that I already won. Bow. To fight is to risk to lose. And you know me. I take no risks. I take no chances."
Then why have you come?
To see with my own eyes.
Then gaze upon it.
Is this
Gaze upon the lake that I will soon own.
amazing? Is that how you want to be known? Silver Lake Paw? Is that going to be how you're going to be known about the land?
I merely see a land free from your magic.
Magic. Why don't you do it then? Why don't you just declare yourself? Why don't you issue your claim? What are you waiting for, Bao?
Issue my claim to this land?
Well, is not that what you just did to myself? Why wait?
And Bao will take one of the daggers and throw it into the mud. I am Bao, master of mud.
Why don't you give me an impress?
Okay. I get +1 to that because I have, I think that's a particularly ornate dagger. I
Yeah.
have access to unique weapons. And I think this is more calculation and control. Yeah, so that's +2. It's a 9. I'm gonna burn my bond with Wei to push that to a 10. And bring my brother into this. Sorry, brother. I am Bao, master of mud. This is my brother, the other master of mud. And I'm trying to, let's see, on a press. Gain a favor is really tempting.
From whom?
A favor from the Whispering Crane would be interesting.
Yes, it would.
The favor I want her to do is I want her to distract the forces of the ox so that we can get to the Whispering the Harmonious Serpent. I don't know why she would do it.
Oh, I know.
Why?
So the Whispering Crane looks at you and she smiles and releases a crystalline laughter. Oh boy, cannot believe you have been so dull for the last months and you finally do something that actually deserves my attention. Fascinating. It seems you have learned a thing or two under my service. I love what you have done with the place. I welcome your family, and I went to see paddling through the mud. You know why? You will never be like the thunderous ox. But you know what propaganda needs? An enemy. Something that can justify everything that I need to beat you back into the mud. You have given me a most precious gift. It's only fair that I repay in kind. And she turns. I'm gonna lead the Falcon Company and try to waylay the forces of the Thundering Ox. And I'm gonna try to separate him from his officers. If you are truly the claimant to these lands, you will know what to do with this opportunity. Ming, help Bao. He was never really able to do much without your help.
Damn, Shane.
So will be. My grace. I wish you well in battle.
I will. After all, you designed my plans. And with that, the cavalry and the Whispering Crane are gone. Millie falls to her knees.
Mealy, please stand. No reason to kneel in the muck.
He just ruined everything.
He ruined nothing. Besides, remember, you don't work for him anymore. You can make a name for yourself.
Give me a hearts and minds with Millie.
All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna roll wood for growth. Oh, it's a 6. I'm gonna burn my bond with Bao. Let's bring that up to a 7.
Yeah. So you ask her to join you, right?
Yes. Forget Bao. Why don't you join somebody that knows what path they are on? Not one that will wander between puddles of mud.
It makes sense. On one condition. You offer me the position that Bao held among the officers. I want to get his command.
Well, I can't exactly make that decision. That is up to the Whispering Crane. But I'll put in my best recommendation.
You are always a man of your words. That is as well as it has been done. And Melly rises and puts and steps to your side. You heard her. We need them, and she finds them useful. So let's bring some mud to where the ox sleeps in drunken stupor.
Brothers, shall we?
So,
We shall.
yeah, let's go for
In
a
fact,
5 minutes
gonna
break and
clear
come
this-
back to that.
Okay. I need my brother in fighting shape. All right.
Hey, Ludo.
Eh,
I was just looking at it. Could we
Yeah.
claim my little interaction with Hua as triggering the proud youth again?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it was literally you asking.
Yeah, that's
that.
just what happened naturally. So,
So yeah,
um,
so you get one steady hold.
and I was going to spend that to confirm the harmonious serpent's scale.
They are of a higher scale than you.
Okay.
But if you get a new technique, or if you get the help of someone during the fight, you can bring it up to your scale.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. Is it says a team up with mutual bonds? So could the three of us coming together count as evening up the scale?
Yeah. The thing is, if you do what Hua says, you're gonna get pleasant going with something else. But you are already getting pleasant when ongoing with battling Harmonious Serpent. So it will apply to some other task because it's not cumulative.
Yep.
Yeah. So if there's something that you think it might
Oh,
help,
yeah, I'd say the one with Bow would give me the +1 to defeating the harmonious serpent,
Mm-hmm.
and then the one with Hua would give me +1 to kind of deposing the thunderous ox.
Makes sense. So we get back to the place that we said was the last place that they saw Harmonious Serpent. And Bao, you grew up on this region. So what can you tell us about this place?
It's a very, very old temple, um, built before people were building like actual structures out of wood. It's actually buried into one of the smaller hillsides. If you blink, you'll miss it. But for those who know what it is, it's a very sacred place.
Wayne, you were at this temple before with the other members of the Eagle Doctrine. What were you doing just a few weeks ago here?
I think this was a training exercise that the harmonious serpent took us on, understanding that in the coming months we would be facing off in battle. She was trying to teach us the importance of knowing the environment and the geography of the battlefield. And so we made camp at this temple and we surveyed the surrounding lands to try and find some way of gaining an upper hand in the battle.
Ming, you are a master of the teachings of Wu, and you are also master of your own style, of your own path. You can see things that not even you can see. So, where do you know that Harmonious Serpent is hiding?
Harmonious Serpent isn't hiding, just in disguise.
Disguised as what? Or who?
Disguised as Jen.
So you approach the temple, and you see the troops of the Holy Society, but there's something odd about their equipment. It seems like it has been scavenged, not theirs. And wait, you recognize Jan sitting alone in the temple, back turned to you.
Jen, I I didn't know if you survived from your wounds. What brings you here?
I was deeply wounded last night. I came here for safety. I would have told you before, but I did not know who could intercept the message. There are assassins afoot.
There are. You know that my plan was to bring Bao back with me. Seems I've exceeded even the harmonious serpent's estimation of me. I've brought back Ming as well.
Oh, is that so?
Together, we filled with glorious purpose together.
Please have them come forward. Wayne, you always were my best friend.
At that, I'll still standing in the doorway to the temple. I'll turn around and wave to Ming and Bao to come forward.
Bow will.
Yeah, I think I move forward as well, but I look at Wei and I'm like, Wei, why don't you have your sword at the ready?
Why would I have my sword ready? This is a dear friend.
It's always smart to have your sword at the ready. You never know when an ambush can come out of nowhere.
My sword doesn't come out until it is necessary. I always believe that words can fix anything.
Yes, I can definitely move it along, but just remember what Hua taught us when we were nothing but little runts, 8, 9 years old, about the unknown. And I know it, that you know it as well as I do. Because you're just as good as I am.
I think that is a comfort and support.
Oh, thanks.
It was an attempt. Let's see. Definitely wisdom. I'll roll water. Go, go, go. That's a 6. Plus a 1, that's a 7. Yay.
Finally. Okay, so do you listen to their words?
I do. And I think I draw my sword, clearing away my metal.
Finally, Wei starts listening to us. That's what he's been taking all of these dice rolls. Wei just won't listen. I don't know what's going on. All right.
And Harmonious Serpent throws away her disguise. And wait, which terrifying wound did Hua inflict on them?
I think the hidden path style is focused mostly on finding the weaknesses in the enemy's style. And the Harmonious Serpent has always kept their face entirely uncovered in battle, all through our training, as a mark of disrespect for that particular style. And so I think she has a massive scar across her face.
Good job. You managed to do so much beyond what I could have hoped. Why? To think that you brought Ming back, that is something that I could never imagine. It's good to have you back home, Ming.
This isn't my home. This is your abomination that you created. How could you come over to the Ox?
There was no other way.
There was plenty of the other way.
Were there? What if the Azure monastery laid in the Northlands? What if you were just one of the many domains seized by the orcs? Will you not be on this side? Will your not loyalty to the good that the Azure does trump anything else?
The Azure will always be here for every war, every hurt, every heartache. But it is people and their decisions that start it.
Well, I did not start this war, brother. However, I am very interested in ending it. Aren't you?
I believe we all are.
I believe we could end it together, though. If you help us. If you help us against the Ox, together, we could end it.
Why the ox? We are already here. We have the means of the ox. It will much easier. It will assure less bloodshed if we take down Whispering Crane. You know better than anyone, Ming, that her regime is all about ideas. It's all about terror, propaganda. You know that it will not survive without her. It's much easier than disassemble the structure of the ox.
Why not both?
You will invite chaos and disgrace. You have gone mad, just like Hua did. No, we cannot have another century of war. You cannot agree with this, Ming. Is not that the purpose of the Azure Monastery to prevent suffering? Would you doom us to another century, 2 centuries of war?
The Azure Monastery is here to heal what is hurt, not to prevent. That has never been the mantra of the Azure Monastery.
So you insist on this destructive path.
I believe it is you who is on the destructive path.
Of course you do. Every fool believes that. And she waves at the door of the temple. Leave now. My troops will not molest you. You can return to the Southlands or disappear away, whatever you want to do. But if you stay, I will have to destroy each and every single one of you. So consider my words and think of my destructive path.
I reach behind me where the door lies open, and I just use my staff to gently push it shut.
It seems only three or only one can leave this place. And she raises her sword. Come.
I'm going to step forward. I still
Oh.
think the four of us can leave together. And I'd like to invoke my Blade Heart move.
Okay, go for it.
So I'm going to roll with metal, with calculation. That's what I've been thinking about all morning. And I'll take the +1 either from Hua or from Bao.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go, dice. That's 9 plus 3 would be 12. So on a 10 plus, your words reach them. They will act to aid you right now. They may come with you, go to face their master, or flee.
So what do you choose?
I think I'll say I'll give them the choice. I think I'll say the four of us can leave this temple. The three of us are going to destroy the Thunderous Ox and then remove the Whispering Crane. You can come with us if you want. But I will not. After readjoining with my friend Ming here, I will not have any more of the students that I trained with fighting against each other.
My duty is first and foremost to the Eagle Doctrine School. As teacher there, I need to put the well-being of the students and the preservation of its knowledge above everything. This is why I joined the Thunderous Ox in the first place. And now, at this time of need, the Eagle Doctrine School is what I need to think about. I'm going to take them with me, and we're going to go back to the school, and we're going to do everything we can to save it one way or another. We hope that when you meet us at the school is having succeeded at your plan and not running away from an army seeking vengeance. So she is choosing to flee and taking the Eagle to train with her.
I count that as success.
No, yeah. Okay.
And
So
see,
what
Ming,
explain?
you doubt that we could be statesmen of this land.
And you doubt that we can do everything with words.
A balance, brother, a balance.
Ming rolls his eyes. Brothers. Opens the door and walks out.
And who appears and just seems beyond glee. This is why a teacher never tries to impose their bias on their students. Look at you. You found a path that I will never be able to follow.
Anybody can follow any path. All they have to do is take the first step.
That's something that we tell the novices to not have to come with real answers.
No, we got real answers.
We do, but we need to find it ourselves. So, are you ready to face the ox?
What's in this?
Well, we need, first and foremost, we need to get ready to fight the Drunken Master. No, the Drunken Master. And we're gonna need an army.
And we're gonna need a lot of wine.
So let's have a training montage as each of you is trying to learn a new technique. So, how many times has each of you seen Thunderous Ox fight?
I would have seen him fight many times.
I've probably never seen him fight.
Mm-hmm.
Just for Goldilocks rules here, I'm gonna go with I've seen him fight once.
Mm-hmm. So, each of you roll 2d6 plus the number of times you saw them fight. So, I'm going to say the many times are going to give you a +3 way.
And would I get the +1 from Hua?
Yes,
Okay.
because she's assisting you exactly to counter him.
Yep. So that's 7 plus 4 is what, 11?
Yeah, so on
I
a
also
hit
got
you can
11.
skill against your foe.
So I think you see a. I think I've also been helping the others by describing things that I've seen the Thundering Ox do, seeing I've been in battle with him so many times. And so, yeah, I think we see Hua standing to the side, watching me now teaching the lessons as I go through individual moves that I've seen him pull and describe what I've seen in the weaknesses in his form.
And I think Bao takes to this quite naturally, as Bao is quite the drinker, and so they sort of the montage part of Bao is that they actually are sort of like playing pranks on each other while drunk, and that's how they are learning to dodge the moves. So they like try and pull the stool out from underneath Bao, and immediately Bao's legs go out. And then they immediately begin to fight and swing. So it's ambushing each other while drunk is the part that Bao takes quite naturally to. I got an 11, so I gained skill.
Well, I rolled snake eyes, so I didn't gain anything.
But you're still training, so why are you eating a hole?
I don't think I think I spent more time pretending to train Mealy, but I was just wanting to hang around her. Yeah, I wasn't like really training.
So it seems you are as ready as you can be, but you still need an army. So where are you getting one?
I
mean, technically, I still have all my troops.
Yeah, I was going to say, the Azure Monastery seems very loyal to...
Yeah, they are all still hanging on the mill.
Far more skilled than the Iron Prosperity Delegates soldiers. I think we established that in the fiction.
Well,
he
and true
went
that
off.
Merlin probably has the Iron delegates too.
Yeah. So maybe we try to use the Azure Monastery troops.
So, Ming, you lead the troops to exploit the flank exposed by the forces of the Falcon Company. And you can see that the Whispering Crane is appearing at multiple sites, always retreating, always to lure uh, Thunderous Ox to run across the battlefield trying to meet her in battle. But she knows that you must be somewhere getting ready, and she wants to make sure that you always gonna get a clear path at him. So when do your forces manage to collide against his personal guard?
Um, I believe. Yeah, I think the Falcon Company and Walking Crane, or Whispering Crane. I don't know why I said Walking Crane. Whispering Crane. I think they managed to push them back towards that same lake we were at earlier, and once they begin to move towards the shores of the lake, we kind of come in behind them and pin them between the lake and the open field.
All right. So as you try to carve a path to get closer to the Thundering Ox, each of you must roll to deal with troops.
I think we've established that Bao is a scaled horseman, but I can't for the life of me remember what I rolled. I think it was water. So
I thought it was fire.
was it fire?
I think so.
Okay, I'll go with fire. That's rolling flats, which I always enjoy. +1 though, because I'm dealing with troops. So here we go. Oh, I should have argued better for water. Okay, so that's
But you roll with your style element.
oh,
Yeah,
which
deal
is
with troops
metal.
is always with
4, 5. That's still a 6, but I have bonds to burn. I'm going to burn my bond with Zhen from last session. And I think it's because this is the holy, what is it? The holy, what's the group again?
We live in a holy society.
The Holy Society. Yeah, it's Holy Society troops that I'm wading through. So shoot, on a 7 to 9. I'm going to win at a cost. I guess I mark it a stat for that.
Yeah.
Okay. I will mark. I'll mark fire.
So who do you meet that is your rival in horsemanship?
Oh, it's one of the. I mean, we're trying to get in there on the Iron Ox, but I think there's one of those riders from the shock troops who knows of our third angle and keeps messing with me, tripping me up, cutting me off, pushing troops in my direction.
Okay. How about the others? What did they roll?
I rolled a 6 plus my 2 for my element.
Okay, so do you pay a cost or do you retreat?
Actually, I was going to burn my Eagle Doctrine School bond
Mhm.
to bring that up to 10.
Mhm.
And I think that the forces can see that I've come back just as the school has left. And so the troops don't actually know to fight me yet, and they're slowed. That their swords are slowed by the fact that I was yesterday fighting with them. And so I managed to just carve through them one by one, and by the time that anyone realizes what I'm doing, they're all dead.
All right, and Ming, how's the fighting going?
I rolled an 11, so
Oh,
yeah, you see the full beauty of the Don Crane technique as I flow along the shoreline, seamlessly, like stepping lightly, almost like as if I'm walking upon the surface of a few centimeters of water, able to slide around and flow, almost as if I was a creek along the shoreline. And hitting so swiftly and beautifully that you don't even hear the casualties scream out in pain. It's almost as if they are laid down like a baby for a nap. And then towards the end, as we stand triumphantly over our one last foe, the sun rises behind me as the dawn crane.
Great crane. Okay.
The mud crane.
so Melee and Hua are just falling behind you, and they are trying to catch up as you open the way, and suddenly the heart shakes and your horses start to panic and you struggle to get control. Bah! 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 And then there is a massive thud as you see Thunderous Ox throw their back into the ground. Brah! And red with wine, he drinks a bit more and he speaks at you with the fury of a god of war. Bow! Why am I not worthy of you sharing a cup with me? Tra, tra, tra. All I asked was for you to join me in my tent. But instead, you do this to me. Bra, bra, bra.
You are not worthy of these lands. These lands will be mine. These lands will be my brothers. This land will be my friends.
Yours. Your family is going to end in the bottom of a lake, like every team seems to do.
But I am Bao, master of mud. And
Come into the mud with me. And he lands next to your horse, arms wrapped around the back, the hind legs of your horse, trying to trip it down with you alongside it, trying to crush you under the weight of the horse.
I'm going to roll off the horse. Sorry, horse. And immediately, like, disrobe my fancy horsebacking gear and just immediately engage him with all of the daggers I can muster. Well, of course, shouting for support from my...
Yeah, because now he is above your scale. You're just facing like that. So what are the others doing?
I think hearing my name as Way, the Master of Mud, I come flying through, and I go to engage the Thundering Ox from behind as he tries to engage Bao. Literally stab him in the back.
Unfortunately, as a true drunken master, he developed his style fighting on wine houses and inns all across the land. And he has no blind spot, and he is used to being ganged up from the corners. And he just spins on the ground laughing. I can take you brothers both. So, what are your secret techniques that might give you an advantage now?
I think that there's a look shared between Wei and Bao. And there's a slight flashback to the montage of when Bao had I took the stool out from Bao, and Bao was on his ass, and I was standing over him, and I held a hand out, and then flashback to the current moment, and he's on his ass, and I'm holding a hand out. And I lift him up, and together we charge.
You do that, and you see that you are giving the Thundering Ox still a sweat for his troubles, but you clearly underestimated how much he spasmed. He's like a giant catfish creating earthquakes. It's just while he is focused around you, because you have to flank him, he always managed to ooze the ground against you to get you just uneven enough so that you cannot move for a decisive blow. You realize, Ming, that you're gonna need to engage too, even if you are not ready to this confrontation. That you're gonna have to engage just enough to bring a distraction that will allow the brothers a chance.
I turn and look at the brothers. I turn back and look at Whispering Crane over on the other shore of the lake. Does she meet my gaze?
Yes.
I look up at the sky and taking a deep breath. So, Mealy, think you're about ready for those troops?
And Millie eyes widen, and she says, I always knew that you'd never cared for me much, but I never thought that you cared me so little that you would hurt me so much on the same day again.
Millie, the last thing I would do would ever hurt you.
And yet, you plan to leave me alone.
No, I plan to take you with me. But, as they say, We have to get our hands a little dirty, or perhaps a bit muddy.
And she nods. I'll follow you wherever you go, Ming.
Excellent. So we do the charge and the Naruto run into right at Thundering Ox.
Okay, let's hope. Okay, so you are dueling someone above your scale.
All right, let's see. Ooh, I roll boxcars.
Do we all roll?
No. You're gonna roll differently. Wait, where is the effect of? Okay, so you got box cards.
Mhm.
So you lose, and you don't get to choose how. No, actually, it's more. We are near the end. It's more fun if you choose how you lose.
All right. Okay. Well, yeah, that's what it says. It says on a hit, you may declare how you lose. I think I get a few good hits in, and Mealy also it manages to get a few good slices in. But it's like, like you said, it's like an ant biting an elephant. It doesn't do much, and I think Thundering Ox just like does like a windmill, corkscrew, and just backhands me. And backhands me so hard that I fly across the lake and land at the feet of Whispering Crane, just face first into the mud. And that's how I lose that one.
Okay, but you give the brothers a valuable opportunity. So, which of you is going to roll duel at their scale?
Oh, I think that should be my brother.
I was going to say, I think I'm going to take this one.
Yeah.
So, rolling. That's 8 plus 2 makes it 10. Plus 1 from Hua makes it 11. So, yeah. Where's the... On your scale.
So tell us how you defeat him.
So, I'm standing there with Bao, and the Thundering Ox has to turn with this massive backhand that sends Ming flying. And as I said, my style is mainly focused on exploiting weaknesses. And for the first time since the battle began, I see one. And in the process of this fight, we have been knocked down and we've been thrown around, and we are both absolutely covered in mud. And I think while Thunderyox's hand does the massive backhand, I leap up and come from above and drive my sword deep into his skull.
Well, I was going to ask if there was mercy. This is pretty obvious.
And I say, I plant my flag and claim this mud as mine.
And I think with the falling of Thundering Ox and Bao covered in the mud, goes over to that same lake where across it is Whispering Crane, and just like takes his arm covered in muck and throws it down so that all the mud slides off of him and goes, "Did I not tell you, Whispering Crane? My brother is a champion. These lands are mine, and you can go from them now."
And the Whispering Crane raises her hand, orders the troops to retreat, and has the Falcon Company approaches. As the Falcon Company looms in the other direction, she teleports to the other side of the lake and tells to Melee, "I only need one brother alive." And she spins her spear, Melee understanding the implication. And with that, the Whispering Crane is gone.
Now do I have to fight Melee? What is Ming gonna do about this?
Yeah, what is Ming doing about this?
I'm waiting to see what Bao's gonna do.
Do something. No, you do something.
No, you do something. You first.
This is the end of a two-shot. I think Bao just turns to Melee and says, "Do it, and I will die the King of Mud, the Emperor of Mud. Give me that pleasure."
I step in between the two of you.
Oh, don't.
As you're going to cross the lake, you see a shadow moving across the battlefield, and you just move in time to block a shadowy saber. "We had a deal, Ming," and you see a glint on his eyes. "Where is the head of Harmonious Servant?" We continue. Okay. Thank you, everyone. This was delightful. You all were great. So we still have a bit of time. So if anyone wants to do a quick roses and thorns,
Sure.
go ahead.
Are we starting with thorns or roses?
Let's start with thorns.
I have one. It's a minor one. It's a personal centric one, as a lot of my thorns are. I made really suboptimal character move choices for the game that we were about to play. I got caught up in I'm going to be the fancy boy, and that meant nothing in warfare. I'm glad that I got that advance so that I could take something that at least gave me some mechanical bonus. I think I played it up okay, but I wish I had gone with maybe an outsider or unconventional or something a little bit more, not combat focused, because it's not like any character is particularly combat focused, but the Bravo is particularly not combat focused. So I guess that's my only thorn.
Yeah, it's very thief-like.
For me, a thorn wouldn't be, and it doesn't have to do with it like anything that anybody did in this game. It's more of, and I realize these documents are more of like the previous stuff, not what's coming out in the Kickstarter. Some of the moves don't really explain too much what happens on a miss. I know the GM has moves, but there's quite a few that don't say exactly, like comfort or support. If you roll a miss on comfort support, is it just the GM move? Is that the only thing that happens? Or I'd like to see more mechanically working a fail, comfort, and support into the narrative. Does that, do you have to mark an element now because you screwed up trying to comfort somebody else? Or do you mark the same element?
Or something as simple as, how is your message or your words misunderstood?
Right. That's my only thorn.
Yeah, because I can add on your end that the part of the game moves. I was also looking when it follows comfort or support. There is not a single GM move that is appropriate. So
Mhm.
yeah, that does not help on my end, to be honest.
And building on that as well, I think the fact that like I marked my style element, and the fact that means you just cannot fight. Even if you were able to fight with a -1 or something like that, I think it would build up a little bit more. And the fact that we tried clearing that in many different ways, and the mechanics wouldn't let us.
No, and that I think that's particularly a big thorn, considering that you are supposed to communicate and reach other people by fighting. So not fighting is not, it's not only preventing you from solving a conflict through violence, it's preventing a lot of the communication that the game assumes. So yeah, I think that's a very good turn to point out. I have a similar turn to the how little clarifying some of the moves are, but mine is more specific. There are some moves that they are clearly meant to be used on players versus players, and while a duel, which is the most common, uh, it has a clear procedure. Things like, for example, like impress or some of the playbook moves, they are not very clear of how it works when it's another PC. For example, the blade heart and the master moves. How is that when it is against a PC? So I had to improvise it a bit. So that's kind of my turn on that. But I'm pretty sure that was something that changed on the final version, because I remember that on the last phase of the playtest, they were looking exactly for PC on PC interactions. So, yeah. Let's end on roses then.
I'd like to start, and I just wanted to say that this is my first time playing in a PBTA game, and I was very, very nervous coming in. It's my first time playing online, first time playing on the Gauntlet, and I really felt like like you were saying that the characterization of the Bravo and the fancy boy that you were playing didn't play well into the war, but the high characterization that you brought and all of that really helped me ease into how this game was going to go. And I felt like I could sit back a bit and absorb the way the game plays by watching you do it so well.
Thank you. I will say a big rose to you, Richard. I would have had no idea that this was your first PBTA game, nor your first game on the Gauntlet. So welcome. Gauntlet Con is amazing. I hope you get a whole lot more games in with us. Pat, it is always a joy to play with you. It was so much fun. Ming is, I think I still prefer your first Hearts of Wulin character that we played with, the unconventional. But Ming was a real joy too. And then Ludo, of course, I love playing with you, and I love playing Hearts of Wulin with you. Your establishing question game is off the hook. I love it. You dish them out, and I swear you either like know how we're going to answer, or you're very quickly redoing your questions for the follow up, because it's impressive every time.
Yeah, roses to you, Richard. Welcome to your first Gauntlet game, and I'll say you fit right in during the game. You handled it very, very well. You knew when to press the story forward and all that, and you picked up on everybody's like little nuances, what they were trying. Because like I felt like Wei was like a kind of like a pawn being pulled in so many different directions during this these two sessions. It's like, oh, come this way, no, come this way, no, come this way. So that could be a little tough, especially for a new player. But I think you did it. You handled it very well. Ludo, you did an excellent job. Just constantly pushing problems and issues upon our characters. Like we had no time to like just be like, okay, let's take a breath here. It'll be okay. We'll plan this all out. It was like, no. You got an issue here. No. You got this issue here. Oh, now Milei's fighting with Bao. You know, I mean, that's we all saw that coming. But yeah, I appreciate that. Greg's always great to play with your characters. All your characters are always hilarious in my book. I'll always do something to crack me up. Like every time I play in a game with you, Greg, I end up just giggling and laughing. We need to play wrestling again because that was like one of the funnest sessions I've ever had ever playing with Greg Worldwide Wrestling. But yeah, I just want to thank all of you. Also, thanks to the whole mud motif that we had going on there towards the end. And I didn't pick up on it till right now, but if you remember correctly, when Whispering Crane first made her appearance, Bao's robe dipped in the mud.
Yeah. That was not intentional, but I'll take it.
Richard, if this is your first PBTA game, I had to say you blew it out of the water. I see everyone has problems getting into the move mentality, and you took to that like you have playing PBTA for years. It was amazing. You really knew how to do the beat. You knew how to use the fiction, how to frame everything. It was a joy to play with you. Wei was an amazing character. I really liked the arc that Wei had, which was basically following around and with romantic entanglements on the first session. And then we see Wei having to do decisions on themselves without the pressure of the school or beloved ones. It was an excellent arc. And again, I will not know if you had not told me that this is your first time. Speaking of first times, I always have to big a big rules to how people use the elements, because I get decision paralysis when I choose elements. So whenever I see players choosing the elements properly, right on the tone, and playing up the conditions when they are marked, it is always great. It's always fascinating. It is really inspired, because it's something that I dread so much as a player of Hearts of Wulin. I have to give a big star again for Ming, because Ming was this type of larger than life wuxia character that is supposed to be, so rich in philosophy and on character and on wants and about their place in the world, but at the same time so deeply rooted in conflict, and just the core contradiction of the ideals of the Zur monastery, and that they are a badass general that has been ruling the battlefield for 2 sessions, and how at the same time it seems like everything they want is within reach and just escapes away. Yeah, it was delightful. It was exactly the kind of characters that you want to see on a game like this, and I'm really happy that you brought it and gave it so much life. And speaking of bringing so much life, well, I can say that Bao might not have been the most efficient mechanic choices, but he definitely made the most interesting. You were always keeping me on my feet. I never knew exactly what Bao was going to do, and that is exactly what you want from a character like Bao, and it was delightful. The whole mud arc was amazing, and up to the end, I did not know how this plot will go, and someone that will make such a gambit, it will have to be a character with Bao. So you might not have been the best fighter, but I don't this game will be like this without a brawler like Bao. So this was delightful, and are you okay with me putting the video up? Okay, so have a nice rest of the con. See you around.
Bye, everyone.
See ya. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
everybody. Thanks.